Yayını başlat. Ses 1 2 okey. Okey, kolu da kullanabiliyorum. Let everyone paste. Şimdi bunun içinde Türkçe var değil mi? Nerede diller? Dilleri nereden şey edeceğiz? Which integration? So their viewers can... Bak sen. Oynayışına müdahale edilebiliyor Twitch'te diyor. Nasıl oluyor ya? Viewers can vote for their favorite dialogue options and give temporary bonuses and penalties. Bak sen. Oha, çok ilginçmiş bu özellik. Dil olayını nasıl yapacağız ya? Direkt içinde oluyor diyor, deniliyordu. Ha, şurada dinleniyormuş. Anda Türkçe. Bak şimdi. Bu veya L ile oyunun şu neyin dilini ben şey yaptım zaten. Oyunun dilini ben yapayım dedim. Yani oyunun sesi şey kalsın, İngilizce, altyazısı Türkçe olsun mu oldu şu an? Neyin dili? Her şey Türkçe yaptığım gibi oldu. Seslendirme yoktur zaten, doğru. Yani şey, böyle bir mesai harcanmamıştır. Ne düşünüyorduysam. Kontrolleri herhalde gösterirsin bana oynarken. Şu an bakmaya gerek yok. Yeni oyun kardeş. Şimdi kimim ben? Çok şey duydum hakkında ama oyunun kendini deneyimlemeyince bilmiyoruz. Son derece zeki, insanlarla arası çok kötü. İlginç bilgilere hakim, orijinal fikirleri var. Fazlasıyla psikolojik, çekici bir kişiliğe sahip fakat biraz dengesiz, aklını kaybetmeye başlayabilir. Aşırı fiziksel, dünya ile beden aracılığıyla etkileşime geçiyor. Başladığı işi bitirir ama kafası pek çalışmaz. Kendi karakterini oluştur da var. Buradan ne yapıyorsun? Seçim mi yapıyorsun? Ansiklopedi, içimdeki deniz, el göz koordinasyonu. Kendi karakterimi oluştursam ne yaparım? Zekaya veriyor. Toplam kaç puanım var dağıtmalık? Mesela zeka 4 olsa, duyarlılık, duygusal zeka düzeyim, toplamda kaç? 12 puanım var. Kas sistemim ortalama. Motor becerilerim ortalama olsun. Duygusal zeka anlamıyorum galiba. Zayıf. Ne oldu? 12 oldu mu yine? Oldu. Çok ortalama bir şey mi yaptım? Böyle olunca ortalama mı olacak? Rastgele de varmış. Saf beyin gücü. Şeyleri dedektifiz, çözelim yani. Bunu arttıramıyorum daha, değil mi? Saf beyin gücün varsa duyarlılığın düşük olur hakikaten. Ama becerilerim çok kötü olmasın ya. Çok mu ortalama oldum dedim ama olsun, hadi bakalım. Evet. Mantıklı bir insan mıyım? Yüksek bir zekaya sahip ol, dünyayı anla. Burada ne yapıyorum? Ha, bunlara şey mi vereceğim? Ha, mantık. Ha, 4 tane buna verebileceğim gibi mi? Böyle bildiğin her şeyden yararlan. İlgi çekici insanların aklını başına al. Retorik, ikna yeteneğini konuştur. Entelektüel sohbetlere gir. Oyunculuk yap. Yılanları ortaya çıkarmak için. Dünyadaki sanatı fark et. Gabe. Olay yerlerini yeniden inşa et. Adalet sağlamak için fizik kanunlarından yararlan. Nice. Ne alsam? Entelektüel sohbetlere girelim ya madem. Bundan birini mi seçebiliyorum? Dünyayı anlıyorum o zaman. Buradan hep bir tane seçebiliyorum galiba. Bunlar benim ne işime yarayacağını şu an bilmediğim için oyunda nasıl bana oynanabilirlik verecek acaba? Dayanıklıklar. Hiç birini seçtim, diğerlerinden hiçbir şey seçemiyor muyum yani? Bu mu? Nasıl olacak o? Onayla diyor. Onayladım. Bu kadar. Bak şimdi. Onları geliştireceğim galiba sonradan. Herhalde öyle bir şey olacak.
There is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. You're conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever, baby. An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it. An awareness creeps up on you. A mass lies hidden in your dead angle, soaking in some lurid acidic source. It's bloated and shameful, a ball of meat surrounding you. This is a terrible line of questioning, and it will only lead to more awareness of ex-love, ex-tenderness. It is foolish of you to resurface to the loss. Not after all the damage you've suffered to get here. Some of it irreversible. Stay. Sail with me through the abyssopelagic zone. Alright, nothing down to fuck all, borough.
Ne diyorum ben ya? Neler oluyor?
Do you want me to upgrade that to a one-way trip, sir? Do you really?
Kırmızıyı mı seçiyorum? Beyazı mı? Onu çözemedim.
You wouldn't like it if I told you what was back there. Why'd you think you had to bludgeon yourself into oblivion? Or did you not sense yourself marinating? Poured so much on yourself, got a bit carried away.
Fear and apprehension. You should ask what's out there first.
Yes, your one disco mother. There's this giant ball there. And evil apes. And the evil apes are juking it out on the ball. You're one of them. It's bait. You can't even make out it's a ball when you're joking it out. It's that large. Infinitesimally small. Vying for resources is just a stupid expression you picked up somewhere. The part of the presentation you want to take home with you is this. You have to beat the other evil apes in the face. Or you. Somewhere in the sore, bloated man meet around you. Like a fly to the ointment, your conscience sticks to it. The limbed and headed machine of pain and
İngilizce
undignified
olsaydı gerçekten
suffering is
zor olurdu.
firing up again. It wants
Türkçesini
to
anlamakta
walk the
zorlanıyorum.
desert, hurting, longing, dancing to disco music. The stench of liquor rises from your mouth, and with it, an ungodly headache. A fiery streak penetrates your skull, trying to force your eyes open. It's a sound.
Oha sese bak.
Clarion call from hell.
Somehow, you know what it is. A caprice can name a motor carriage.
Nasıl etkileşime geçeceğim? Eylem etkileşim bir yapmıyor. Tüm tuşlara basıyorum. Allah Allah. V1 bu. Tamam. Hareket. Nesneleri hedefleme. Sağ elindeki eşya, sol elindeki eşya. Diyalog. Sağlığı arttır. Orayı da arttır. Eylem etki. X'e bastım biraz önce. Çünkü belli. Burayla mı yapmam? Allah Allah. Nasıl yapacağım ya? Hiç çıkmıyor üstümde. Senin güzel Diablo kızı donlu adama dönüştü. Bugün donlu adamım. Bir günüm bir günümü tutmuyor. Ama kolla oynamaya çalıştığım için şu an beceremedim galiba. Ya da ne yapmıyor bilemedim. Çıkarıp taksam mı? Biraz önce bak X çıktı. Şimdi tekrar takıyorum. Taktım. Bu. Bu ne? Üçgen hiçbir şey. X. Beceremeyeceğim galiba ben bu işi. Klavyeye geçsem de bir şey yapamıyorum ki daha gerçi. Yapmaya mı çalışayım acaba donumla? Pantolonumu bir giysem. Koçum hadi yaparsın bir şeyler ya. Allah. İyi montunu giy bari. Şu kravatını al. Bir elini yüzünü yıkasın aslında olacak her şey de. Kendine gelemedi abi. Ben biraz önce nasıl yaptım? Şeyi nasıl... Heh. Döner. X çıktı X. Az önce X çıktı. Allah Allah. Nasıl yaptım biraz önce ben? Hadi come on. Yanlışlıkla kareye basıyorum ama şu tontişlerden hiç şeyi çıkmıyor. Bende bir sıkıntı var herhalde. Ben bir şey anlamadım ama neyi? Tam küvette X çıkmıştı ya. Zaman zaman mı çıkacak X? Sol elim sağ elim. Ama X. Aşağı alındı. Giydim. Nasıl yaptım? Böyle yaptım. X. Arabamı alayım. Duş alaydım iyiydi aslında ama. Kendi kafasına göre.
This fan has two chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades. The blades come squeaking to a halt. It should be easier to reach the tie now. You swoop up and catch the tie. Snap! It's released from the blade.
Öyle mi yapacağım?
What you have in your hand is a truly hideous necktie with 4 or 5 different patterns. The knot reminds you of a noose. A terrible mistake. Turn the lights off immediately. You can practically feel the photons. The lights are off.
Pantolonu alabilir miyim? Sarı şey ne? Ne diyor bana?
You hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your flare-cut pants. It says, whirling in rags, on the aluminium key ring. There is a single key on the ring. The number 1 is etched on it. It should open the door. A mirror hangs above a bent and broken sink. In a fierce discharge of masculine energy, someone has ripped half the faucet off. Hot water sprays from the base and steam covers the mirror. You cannot see yourself, just the outline of a man. Suddenly, you realize you have no memory of the face that awaits you there, underneath the soft vapor. Really, all recollection of the person you are, the people in your life, and even the world you're in has drowned in a sea of blood alcohol. This was no mere night of drinking. It was a deluge of world-ending proportions. As you slowly reach your hand towards the surface of the abort, you clearly have not thought this through. You won't like what you see there, and you will never unbecome it. Behold. You have no idea who this thing is, do you? Too late. You clearly have rigor mortis on your face. Or wait, is that an expression? Are you trying to make an expression with that face? Why? Please stop. It's horrible. You're scaring yourself. Oh my God. You can't stop. It's like it's not even voluntary anymore. You have worn that grin into your face and now it won't come off. What does it even mean? What is the emotion you're trying to convey? There might have been, 10 years ago. It's little more than a cadaverous spasm now. Like the rest of you, it comes from a bad place somewhere in the past. That's all you know for now.
Ayakkabıya bırakma, ayakkabı neydi, ona uzanmaya çalışmıştım. Ayakkabının teki nerede acaba?
The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. The shards face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the inside. A fine web of scarring covers the back of your right hand, but none of it is recent. More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after impact. It is too large for a bullet, yet too small for a piece of furniture. You're looking for something heavy and larger than your fist. The single green shoe you found fits the hole almost as well as your foot. It would have also been heavy enough if thrown with force.
Ayakkabının tekinin nerede olduğunu öğrendim.
Congratulations. You smashed the window with your own shoe. Now you only have one. If you're lucky, you could still find the other one on the balcony outside. The door to it should be outside your room. The cool wind gushes in. Your toes curl up from the cold.
Hello, officer.
The young woman raises a cigarette to her lips. Her eyes are brown and her face is speckled with birthmarks. She can't be more than 28.
No. Because you're a police officer, sir. I am, yes. Unless you've been feeding us a set of very well-rehearsed lies all this time. You've been here for 3 days. On official police business. No, couldn't say. In truth, so far, mostly drinking.
You have no doubt about the drinking. But do you strike yourself as a tight-lipped drunk? She must have heard something.
Could it be because of the drinking?
She nods.
There's a mercenary out back. He's been hanged. The body has been there for a week now. The locals probably got tired of it and called the cops. I didn't mean to overwhelm you with information. You seem a bit lost, officer. Don't be so harsh on yourself. They let almost anyone be a police officer.
The words have already left your mouth.
What was that? That's not even how words are used. What did you say? Come on, say it again. No, you see, that's not what you said. You said... Come on, man. Pretty, please. One more time. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Something stirs in you as she's about to go. Call it an instinct, a need, the need to ask questions. It's like she looks back at you, a light glinting off her eyes.
Yes? There was the usual ruckus. Loud disco music. I couldn't say. It's impossible to hear people speaking from over here. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestration prime among them.
Oh, that. Yeah. Whoa. The less said about OO, the better.
OO were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course. Like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on. It would appear so. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of the time, you were yelling along to it. That it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now, it was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a winded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Then you started screaming and trashed the place. No, it didn't sound like there was a fight. It sounded like someone was trashing their room. A window was smashed. The tape player, probably. The song stopped. And furniture, too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then, around 4 or 5. And that was it. You're in a hostel, sir. We are in Revachol.
Revachol is the disgraced former capital of the world, divided into zones of control under foreign occupation. Half a century after a failed world revolution, she is central to our moment in time.
You sure look like you're from Revachol. Revachol parties.
Her accent suggests she is not from around here. She's from Aranye, another part of the world.
It's 51. The current century? Centuries don't have numbers, they have names. And this is the current one. Civilization has existed for 8,000 years, sir. You're right. There is nothing funny about civilization. It's 51. Yeah? Glad to have been of assistance.
There they both are, two identical shoes, both copiously green and indiscriminately snakeskin, reunited on your feet, like two baby crocodiles. It's pretty clear a normal cop is not what you are. Good, they're balanced, comfy. Feels like the only good thing about you right now, truth be told.
Onun
The
üstüne çıkan
door
şeyi
is
anlamadım.
closed. There is no answer. You hear the shower being turned on, somewhere inside. A tremendous loneliness comes over you. Everybody in the world is doing something without you. The door is closed. This door can only be opened with a key or from the inside.
İçindeki kareler mi? Yanında yazanlar mı? Anlamadım. Ha şey Türkçe olduğu için anladım şimdi.
You should totally sing karaoke here, the first chance you get. Your emotions need to be expressed. People need to know your vast, oceanic soul. Of course, at this point, precise measurements of your soul can only be performed from the outside.
Ha
It needs
önceden
to
böyle
be
değil
heard.
miydi? Hay Allah.
Through a PA system, by other people. You should sing the sad small church song from that tape you found. Thought it was obvious. Serves them right. Wipe that smirk off their face with your sad, tragic song. Who's laughing now? No one. You would need another copy of the tape first, though. The one upstairs is destroyed. A man in his late 20s stands behind the counter, inspecting a stuffed seabird. That was disdain in his eyes. Even now he's purposely ignoring you.
Oh no, you're a hero. A real hero cop.
Could the massive property damage upstairs have anything to do with this?
Yes, you are. A real decorated hero. What did you not do? First you took the body down, then you solved the murder, then you didn't trash my hostel room. Maybe you even negotiated the strike. No, you see, actually, you didn't. You haven't done anything even remotely useful since you got here. No, I haven't seen you around. I'm not always here.
A competent work of taxidermy. The white and brown seabird lies among piles of coasters and drying mugs. One of its wings broken. The man is trying to mend it. Looks like the bird was ripped off the shield that was used to mount it, most likely on a wall. This is the Great Skua. The seabird is the symbol for the discovery of the Insulindian Isola, the part of the world you are in right now.
Look, your buddy is over there. Why don't you go and talk to him, okay?
He pretends not to hear you, concentrating on the bird instead. On the counter, rolled out of his open hand, you see a blister pack of headache medicine. The man does not mind. You probably need them more than he does.
You've just picked up some magnesium. This item is stored in the bottom left corner of the screen above your character portrait. Use magnesium to heal your morale if you have morale damage.
You gently shake his shoulder, but nothing happens. This man could probably sleep soundly in a ship's engine room.
Yine senin kamera açısı aynen.
You should pick that fat, juicy cigarette butt from the tray, light it up, and smoke the living shit out of it. Who knows what you are? A monster, a murderer, the gnome of Jeroma? You feel like a smoker, especially when you look at that juicy, succulent, seductive cigarette stub. How very astute of you. This renders it ineffectual. You should look for a whole cigarette, or better yet, an entire pack. Strike that. A carton. Make sure they're all healthy and able-bodied. Then smoke them all. Good. They'll make you stronger and better. You're too old to be cool now. But find cigarettes, smoke them, blam. Plus, smoking them gives massive bonuses.
Kaset yukarıda odanda dedi ama kaset yok burada. Neyse yapmayalım. Banlanmalı. Kamera açısını banlıyorsun. Ben buradan çıkamayacağım mı? Kapının yanındaki adamla konuş dedi ama.
Hello, sweetie. You shouldn't keep your colleague waiting.
A bespectacled man in an orange bomber jacket is tapping his foot on the floor. Looks like he's waiting for someone. As you approach, he narrows his eyes and extends his hand in...
Hello, I'm Kim Kitsuragi, Lieutenant, Precinct 57. You must be from the 41st.
You realize he's waiting for your name. Concentration makes you squint your eyes. Your name should be deep gold and orange, like a forest fire looming on the horizon, but mixed with the stench of liquor rising from your breath. You're 2 steps closer to it, but there are still many to go.
Okay then. It looks like we had a little scheduling error on Sunday. Saturday too, actually. Have you had time to talk to the manager here?
What he means is, he has been trying to meet up with you for 2 days, but you have been otherwise occupied.
If you don't mind, we should talk to him again. Ask him for a rundown of the area. Now that I'm here as well. I understand the scene is out back, right?
Oyun alemin diktatörü olsa kesin bunu yasaklardı da.
It also wouldn't hurt to assure him the
Yani
police
oyun
are finally
alemin
here.
diktatörü
In
yapmazlardı
full
o zaman.
force, I mean.
İndirirlerdi seni.
Have you mapped out the initial interviews? At the 57th, we like to prepare an initial list of persons of interest, and then just skim the surface. Prepare the field, get to know the players. You don't do that? Maybe it's not an inter-district practice. Right. And the interviews? Okay, we'll have time for that after we take a look at the coroner's case. Have you removed the dead body from the tree? Mm-hmm. Does that mean the body is no longer in the tree? Sure. But did you take it down from the tree? So, the body is still in the tree.
This is the first time you detect a weariness in the lieutenant's voice. It is obvious he would have preferred for the body to no longer be in the tree.
Where it has been hanging for 7 days straight. We should go there as soon as we are done talking to the owner. I can see you drank last night and the night before, and that you are still drunk now. But I have seen officers go through worse. Much worse. If you need something for your headache, there is a general store nearby. But as I said, the dead body should be our #1 concern. I was sent here to meet a detective from Precinct 41. You have the insignia of the Citizens Militia on your sleeve and on your back. I suppose you could be impersonating him. You could have gotten the insignia from the black market or forged it. But for now, I'm going to set those possibilities aside. I'm not from the Inspectorate General.
Inspectorate General means internal affairs. What he's saying is he's not from the rat squad and isn't supposed to suspect such things.
No need for derogatory terms. They're only doing their job. Yes. They're not just white rectangles. They bear a halogen watermark with the letters RCM and a pattern resembling the street grid of Revachol West. I would ask you to step into the headlights of my motor carriage, but again, it's none of my concern. You mean you don't have a badge? Losing your identification card is a serious matter. My vehicle has a shortwave. You can use it to report your badge missing. I would advise you to locate it as quickly as possible. But getting the body down should still take precedence. Talk to the manager. Then we go out back and take the body down. We all feel that way sometimes. There is no such thing as a police officer, I'm afraid. What remains is that there is a dead body in the tree. Someone has to figure out who put it there. If we don't, no one else will.
If you don't find a way, no one
And
will.
then, soon after, dead bodies would be dangling from all the trees.
But first, we have to take it down. After you, officer.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi is now in your party. You can talk to him whenever by interacting with him.
The man with the unimpressive beard notices you approaching. He drops the ledger he was holding.
Mr. Gart, right?
Yes.
I am Kim Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. This is an inter-district investigation, so joining me from Precinct 41...
Fantastic. That's wonderful, really. I think so. But there's a dead body out back. No one wants to work in these conditions.
Sir, I understand your concern, but we are here to do a job. And for us to do it, I need you to stay calm.
Yes, of course.
I know it took us a while to arrive at the scene, but it also took you a while to call us. It was you who placed the call, correct?
No, I only just got here. It was probably Sylvie who called you. She usually works the bar here.
Do you have her number?
As a matter of fact, I do.
You said you just got here. From where? Are you a local?
What, of Martinez? No, I live in Jamrock. I only sometimes come here to keep an eye on the place.
But you still know your way around, yes? In case we need directions.
Yes, I know where some things are, but as I said, I don't live here. I just used to work here. and I'm not going to start working here again, if that...
I didn't imply that. Detective,
He probably means this is where you step in and ask your questions. His face expresses profound doubt in your having this.
Behind this building, there's a courtyard. They hoisted him up on a tree there. That's easy. See that door there? First you exit through that. Then, to your right, you should see a big hole in the fence. A really big one. You can get to the courtyard through there. No need for the keys. The hole is big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry to fit through. I don't know who killed him. I'm not the police. That's your job.
The lieutenant turns the page in the little notebook he's been scribbling in.
She went away because none of your business.
Have they not been telling you you're a cop?
Okay, you got me. She went away because of the dead body out back. And because I asked for her number. That's why Sylvie went away. I hope you appreciate that.
thank you.
I asked an employee out. She didn't want to come, but felt obliged to. It was a bad idea. Now, what is so goddamn fascinating about that for you? It's got nothing to do with the lynching. Good for you. Was there something else? I'd like to get back to what I was doing. No, I'm not the bartender. I'm the cafeteria manager. I have 3 cafeterias I manage.
Let's go.
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real.
As you blow this joint, behind you a whiny voice shouts.
Real mature, man. Real mature.
Hello, sweetie.
Wait, who's Sweetie?
You're a handsome man, officer, with your mustache and your chiseled jaw and that silly dimple on your chin. But dear, you're not for me. I'm too old and too married besides. You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Whatever do you mean? Oh, no. I haven't smoked in years.
She shakes her head slowly. Wait, maybe she knows where you can get cigarettes. Delicious toasty cigarettes stuffed to the tip with You would do well to follow her example. Smoking is the reason you feel like a rag. It's painful for you to even ask these questions.
An old woman in a wheelchair just doesn't look good
Ben de seni
holding a
havalı
cigarette.
sanmıştım dedi.
Though I'm sure it lends you a roguish charm, sweetie. Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad. Oh my. You know where we are, right? That's right. And where is the Whirling in Rags cafeteria itself located? Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol. How would I even begin to tell you? Revachol is the most beautiful city in the world. I haven't seen very many other cities personally, but everyone says so. Revachol is a rare jewel. This city used to rule the world. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? There. The year is 51, and spring has only just started. I'm sure there are better days ahead.
The lieutenant studies you, rubbing his chin. I'm beginning to suspect that you might indeed be completely adrift in this reality, thinks the lieutenant. How can it be that bad? Never mind. We're in this now.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Nope, sadly not. Revachol is what's called a zone of control, under an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. We have no government of our own, and what democracy we have is market-driven.
Meaning, buying is voting.
Oh dear, this is troubling. You really ought to know that, being one yourself. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new, something different. The rest of the world didn't like it, so they came and ended it. This was 42 years ago. It has something to do with everything. I really don't know how to explain it better. Someone more educated in sweeping matters. Maybe you should ask.
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a detective.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are
Ruggi'nin
educated.
aksanı çok
Though
tatlı
I
değil mi
don't
ya?
know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez. Yes, dear. I'm a paraplegic.
A paraplegic is someone with limited or no ability to use the lower half of their body. Paraplegia is caused by spinal cord injuries, like falling from a great height, or a grenade explosion.
No, dear. I'm not quite that old, although I was injured in the line of duty. Nothing so glamorous, dear. Though when I was young, I dreamt I was a training and development manager at a rapidly expanding mail order shoe company. You'd think it would be a safe job, but I had to be everywhere, and well, once I happened to be under some faulty scaffolding. I was lucky. This was almost 20 years ago, and I was compensated exceptionally well. One can only dream of such payoffs nowadays. No problem. Of course, dear. Good.
Yes?
No response. He just arches his brow. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs?
There is a sudden, harsh edge to his voice, like he's tired of hearing about your personal affairs.
Fine. We should get through this day first. Off hours begin at 9 p.m. If you're still having trouble then, I can give you an orientation. Really? You look fine to me. This psychodrama is unbecoming of an officer.
Clearly, he prefers to think you're malingering. He cannot fathom that anyone could drink so much as to retroactively erase their entire life.
Then you should consider seeking medical attention. You can use the radio in my kinema to call your station's Lazareth. Was there anything else you wanted? Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul. So was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Revacholière. What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
I can't say that it does, no. When I need to think, I just use my notebook.
The lieutenant produces his small blue notebook. We all have our different mediums. You're super lucid, yet psychedelic. You don't need office supplies to connect to your nervous system. You're special.
That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
Are they? They are mostly just cumbersome.
You could use a good, normal peer yourself.
No.
Your brain sends the signal to your lips, but they refuse the order. Something is paralyzing them. You're pretty sure it has something to do with the lieutenant's eyebrow.
Something the matter, detective?
What's going on? It's like you're a puppet in his hands. The lieutenant relaxes his eyebrow, and you seem to regain control of yourself.
Good. Let's change the subject. What do you want to know? I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecilic cop-off. It's just stupidity. We shouldn't waste any more time on it. If you want my take, ask me after we've inspected the victim. Later. Was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? Maybe you can tell me what you do know to help me narrow it down a bit. Then you are not that far behind, actually. Do you want me to brief you? 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body
Aslında
behind
öldüren
the
benmişim
whirling
ama
Grand's
hatırlamıyorum.
hostel
Çok düz
cafeteria. The
gerçekten.
cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now that's us, the Revachol Citizens Militia. We're the police in this city.
The RCM, or the Revachol Citizen Militia, is the police force you and him are part of. A self-organized Peace Corps, of the occupied city of Revachol. The RCM operates.
That's right. No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. I'm relieved that you agree. Anyhow, let's get back to the case. Was there anything else you wanted to know? You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? There's no reason to wing anything. If you didn't get the brief, that's okay. 3 days ago, the RCM emergency. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. A security guard, worker of some sort, hired by our parents. This was just hearsay from Martinez. They didn't identify them. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union map. Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's our job to find the killer. That's the case. Uncover and arrest the killer. Good. Excuse me? Detective, if I may be frank, you seem to be in a deranged state. You have trouble remembering things. You've misplaced your badge. I cannot let you act in the name of the RCM without supervision until you've regained control. That's good. Some you time? This is a police investigation, not a journey of self-discovery. You'll still have your evenings to yourself. Please do. We wouldn't want your regiment to spill over into the investigation.
The lieutenant is pretty sure self-care is just a euphemism for, is it not?
What do you want to know? No, it's not a particularly
The lieutenant adjusts his collar. It doesn't look like he wants.
No, it's not a particularly... The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the... Then you are in luck, because we are in the midst of a major strike by the dock workers union. Maybe more than that. The union clearly wants a piece, not just of the industrial harbor, but the Wild Pines Corporation itself.
Is this a strike then? Or the first shots in a workers' coup?
Ya kamera oyun görselini
I expect the case itself to be less challenging than
giriyor ya,
navigating
ondan
these
çok
community
şey
matters.
yapamadım.
This district isn't
Acele
used to the RCM's presence, and the Union rarely overplays its hand, as it appears to have done in this case. Strike, coup, revolution, it's
You feel something rising through you, a familiar feeling, an opinion taking form.
When I said we have to navigate community matters, I did not mean we have any say in them. I meant we should be careful. If we are not, the shit will blow right in our faces.
From an imaginary fan.
Now, was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? Good.
defterime falan nasıl bakacağım ya? Burada başka bir şey verebiliyor muymuş? Bunlar. Seviye yükseltme şeyi gelmiş mi? Çıkamadım da buradan. Hangi kapıdan bahsetti o? Bir kapıdan çıkın dedi ama hangi kapıdan?
Yes?
That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? An hour would have been bad. 2 hours is mystical. You have truly wiped out all trace of yourself if you haven't thought about rum and lemonade yet. Maybe you haven't turned out well for your drinking. Have you thought about that? Get a goddamn rum and lemonade into yourself, boy. Or better yet, lick that stain off the counter.
Yala ama azıcık yala.
Calmly, the lieutenant looks out of the window, then to you, licking the tasty rum stain off the counter, but only a little.
What are you doing? We should move.
A real drink would go well with those cigarettes you're looking for. That's a great
Real mature, man. What?
Damn, your feet thought we got away.
What are you, brain damaged? Money is what grown-up people use to pay for things. Things like this hostel room, or...
There's a shuffle of nylon as Lieutenant Kitsuragi looks for something in the pockets of his orange bomber.
What are you, brain damaged? Money is what grown-up people use to pay for things. Things like... Are you serious? From your work? I don't know. You can take bribes, I guess.
Some do take recompense, but only to survive.
For survival, to pay me. Unless you want to become a hobo. Do you want to become a hobo? There's nowhere else to stay in Martinez, and it's a cold spring outside. Money doesn't make you happy, but it lets you be unhappy for a bit longer. If you run out of money, you die. It's like that for all of us. Me too. That's why I need you to pay me.
There's a shuffle of nylon as Lieutenant Kitsuragi looks for something in the pockets of his orange bomber.
You know what? The stupid drinks you've had are on the house. You know why? Because I know you can't pay for them. Now, I still have to charge you for 3 nights and the broken window. That's 100 square. Don't thank me yet. You still owe me 100 real. If you don't have it by tonight, I can't let you up there. Now, what the hell did you want? I assume you wanted something to come back here. Absolutely out of the question.
Absolutely in the question. First we find a sad banger. Then we sing this place to Your body is ready, sire.
Do I have a shaker in my hand? Is this...
It's not a shaker. It's nothing. He's holding nothing.
Am I wearing a little bow tie? Am I wearing a bow tie? Am I smiling? Do you see me smiling and shaking my lip? That's right! I'm the cafeteria manager!
Play it calm. This man needs to understand you need a drink to help the community deal with police stuff.
Oh, well, in that case, let me pour you a nice, big, refreshing marinella. Do you want that out of a glass or a pineapple? Don't be an imbecile. I'm not going to serve you a marinella. I have work to do and broken things to fix. If that was all, I'd like to... What thing? Yes, not the whole damn union, thank God. Just the nastiest and loudest faction. They come here in the evenings. Dumb, unruly types. Think they're big shit. But they're good customers. They place big orders and always pay on...
We should find out who this Lord faction is, occupying the booth. Loudness means talkative, and we need info. We don't. We have to wait. They'll show up sooner or later. Men get hungry, even striking men. If not today, then they'll be here tomorrow.
There are these things called days. You sleep between them. He's saying they'll come after you've slept. Just making clear you got that.
What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later.
Another thing. Great. I love those. What are you, a cook now? That's none of your business. He wasn't pan-fried. He was lynched. What could the kitchen possibly have to do? Fine, okay. The kitchen is closed until 1 p.m. because the cook is working. You can snoop around after that, if you must. Yes? Yes, have you got it? A lot. For the room and broken window? Like what? I was rarely enjoying...
By the way, where is home? The address is coming up blank, and this place sure isn't it. But you've been at this hostel cafeteria for only 3 nights. Where were you before? You had to be somewhere. You don't really know, do you? South, maybe, doesn't sound like somewhere you can stay if you run out of money. You can try. Run some addresses in your head when you get the time. Maybe a street or an apartment will appear.
Şu aşağıdaki o çantadır, defterdir, bilmem nedir, onlara nasıl gireceğim ya? Buna girebiliyorum sadece. Ha şöyle. Ha. Böyle yaparsam. Bunlar yapacağım şeyler mi? Yapacak. Tamamlanan sadece bunlar mı? Yok. Karaoke de yapamadım. Sigara da bulamadım. Kimlik kaybettim. Dedim. Düşünceleri düşüneyim mi? Selleştim. Kapı açılmıyor mu ya? Açılıyor.
An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. Looks like someone has melted half the plastic off with a lighter. The doorbell does an off-key melody starts playing after you ring the door.
Kuno, please stop calling here. Grown-ups don't have time for your stupid games. Please don't do that. Doorbells are not toys, and this one isn't even working properly.
A single beep indicates that the line has gone dead. Nothing happens after you ring the doorbell. They don't want to talk to you. Silence. No one answers the door. You ring the doorbell. What an ominous name for a hair salon. Doesn't bode well for anyone's hair. You hear static from the intercom speaker. It sounds as if someone has picked up the
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electric. Have you...
She sounds almost antique, as if her voice was being played off an old wax cylinder. A receiver must not be working properly.
My God.
The lieutenant exchanges a look with you.
It's you. My God. I didn't think I would hear your voice.
Who cares that you don't remember her? Just go along with it.
Michelle, just please. Why did you even call? I don't understand. You've been gone for months. Ever since I came to work here, it's been different. As if my mind's been wiped clean.
A spot of static overrides her words. When she speaks again, it's
It's so nice to be able to finally again.
She sounds like she's about to cry. She doesn't answer. Silence. The only thing you can hear now is static and waves washing ashore on the bay. Another seagull passes by. It's getting cold.
I don't know what happened either. We should probably stop playing with this thing.
You press the number sign on the keypad that terminates the call. 12 name cards on the call box read. Whatever she says, it can't hurt you. You're a different person now. Stronger, healthier, and... Alright, maybe not healthier, but it's a bonus that you've drunk so hard you can't remember. There's a light buzz as you press the doorbell, waiting for...
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electric. Have you come to place an order?
Here come the bad vibes again. Relax. Distance yourself from it.
It's you. My...
Wait, is she...
Michelle, just... Why did you...
Is this some kind of joke? The voice from the intercom doesn't answer, but you can hear her breathing. Wind blows into your microphone.
Ever since I came to work here, it's as if my mind's been wiped.
And then it hits you. She tries again not to cry, and still doesn't succeed completely. Her quiet sobs sound old and distant, as if her voice is being played off a wax cylinder. Her sound melts into the static from a long-distance phone call. From time to time, you can hear people. This is where you hung up the call the last time, but the recording is still going. A phone rings in the office with an old-fashioned chime, and no one replies. But the static grows stronger, like rainfall. Her words are too cold to comprehend. She smells of sodium lights and rain streaks on car windows. Eyes...
So... It was a recording trapped in the circuitry from some ancient tenant. This sometimes happens. Shall we conclude here? We have other mysteries to solve. Don't take this the wrong way, but during our short stint working together...
That is true. Nothing happens after you ring the doorbell. You wait for a minute or two, but all you get from the call box is silence. All you hear is static, but no one answers the call. You ring the doorbell, but nothing happens. Silence. No one's home at 40. Silence. No one answers your call. This button looks new, but someone has removed...
This button looks new. It's probably not connected yet.
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open. Are you interested in a new and exciting book? Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions you have. My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside, minding the register. Feel free to step in and browse our wares. I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise, people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. Oh, no, sir. I'm happy to help Mum by luring in customers. Besides, I have some hot juice in my vacuum bottle to keep warm. I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running. Mum says it's necessary to do both because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life.
There is stress and unease behind these words. She's reciting etiquette.
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed. Cursed in the way that makes them say that no business has ever really thrived here, sir. That they all go... Exactly. But we've been doing fine so far. They shouldn't be, but they seem real. Anyhow, they say that these grounds are doomed for businesses. Of course, sir. Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that. And the work of a policeman or a private And it's kind of like a puzzle too. You can guess who the criminal is. You don't look much like a policeman. Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen. More about books, maybe? It's the type of book where there's a rich lady and she has to choose between the good man and the bad man. Or there could be a story about a poor lady getting a rich man. It's about man and lady business, sir. That's really not a proper romance story. That's more like everyday life. I guess, yes. People in books are always very interesting, especially the romance people. I haven't read many of those. Maybe you should ask Mum. I don't think it's a romance story if the main characters break up, though. Sometimes they break up for a little while, but then they always get back together. Maybe some about other books? Oh, kings and queens and generals of old, or artists and writers, or musicians. I think that's why people read them.
Seems like most people who read those books fail to get more famous from reading them.
But it does make the famous people more famous. Why would they do that, sir? You're not that old. Maybe you'll do something really important, something that wows the world. Yes, there's hope. A lot of famous people got famous late, or even after they've died. I think you just have to live a happy life. No need to worry about...
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onug, written on the other side. That's Kuno on the lens. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. You know this to be the star of Pericarnassus, or the Cairo. Around the large wooden building you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice.
Sigara nereden bulacağız ya? Görev aldık.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplet.
Good morning, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full what we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. $20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samoan and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted long centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. They started as centuries of care. You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? We built this district.
We. There it is.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions, the plazas Meteor and Mosaic, before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, a company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou. We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol, and it's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between...
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Why what? Stop thinking. Take her down. Have it your way.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure...
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Qualified pleasure craft operator. So charming. Where's the damn license?
I just renewed its safety inspection last month, officers. It is completely seaworthy. In fact, it's taken part in not one, but two insulindic regattas. Even finished once. The other time, I would have finished the race were it not for an urgent work matter.
Actually, you don't. The Wayfarer Act specifically denies the RCM the authority to demand anyone's operator license.
The Wayfarer Act is one of the few pieces of legislation governing human interaction in the Revachols. The one time this busted-up cabbage has something useful for your job, you just want to stare at some boat. Fine. Knock yourself out.
I was just being polite. Even school children know the Wayfarer Act. No need to resort to self-pity, detective. You can still ask for her passport.
Of course.
The woman is silent, smiling while the waves lap against the hull. In your hand, under the plastic, the Republic of Vespa, formerly the Republic of Vespa Messina, was once a dual kingdom. An amicable parting of ways. The woman, born in the year 3 in the commune of Revachol, smiles at you, face adorned with frown lines and crow's feet. The photo is recent.
My husband is. I have dual citizenship. A Vespertine is handier when traveling. Yes, but Joyce is much more efficient.
She nods and returns the plastic bag to...
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1. My sloop, I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, babe.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Good. Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Then you might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy. Personally, I don't think it has the same pizzazzo as every worker a member of the board. It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines Group makes a decision about what? About anything really, it needs the signature of, just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are all... I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind...
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates, the one whose very name advertises his aversion to work.
This checks out.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before. And Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interest. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While the Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers...
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
Adına bir kendim hakkında bilgi vermiyorum.
Of course, officer. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't
Olur
running
öyle değil mi?
anymore, or
Olur.
coming to work. Ever. End of story. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, and this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our
She must have been suspecting something for a while now.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuates.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so
They're profiting from this trade.
the company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority, or you can recover your badge. Though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance and, not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching. I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all. Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large, and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months. Yes?
Beceri puanım gelmiş.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Zengin birine benziyorsunuz bana bir para.
This reality.
Yes, reality is your side case, an experimental side case.
No, but please, a little context.
We have time for you to tell me why you need a reality lowdown.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher detective. Oh? Then why?
Yes. Why don't you tell Mrs. Messier what you told me?
Ah, yes. The episode.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a low...
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
It's a neurological disorder caused by a lack of vitamin B in the brain. Symptoms include a retrograde amnesia. Well, it's either bariatric surgery or long-term alcohol use.
She nods slowly.
These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second for the big time. The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. Why, of course. We're talking Duke out Central. Full... No. I would say the apes were neutral. On the other hand, those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. Yes. The Red Deluge. The Insulindian Deluge, they call it. Yes, an acute thiamine deficiency can be exacerbated by alcoholism. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. Yes, King Guillaume had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down? Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. The turn of the century revolution? The revolution began in '02. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. It made people overthrow their governments. Indeed, Zarat is a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mars, why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control. A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol. After the failure of the suzerain, modernity, they developed the marvels of the inter-eastlery communication, telematic milieus,
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies. The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's No. It was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash. Welcome to reality, baby.
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side.
The Liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. They didn't win so much as survive. We,
she's one of them, of course.
to foreign intervention, the coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The Liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje. The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, at least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provision. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
Of course. Not easy to be moderate about head shooting in your line of work. Good question. What would you have done differently? And I asked you, past less detective of the citizens' militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you? And you would have died, most likely. Not far from here. Maybe even right here, during the beachhead, defending the coast the day the coalition took the city. No, almost certainly. The commune would have forced you. Such was the fate of the undecided. They picked the winning side. That's why they're here, and others are not. Perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I might have bet on the king and led the Pines to doom. I would have sided with the cannons. If you'd seen the calibers of the things, you might have too. 10 of the 14 Indo tribes got it wrong. Feld, Kupri, Tricentennial. They are what they are. Who knows? Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else? We're in Martinez, baby. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holiday. Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. Yes, we're on an island in an ocean.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the Blue Immensities.
Caillou, as you already know.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her. And to humanity at large.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it, and Revachol. Revachol is what you call the great kind. History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. our centuries. They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. By that I mean conflicts. We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where I think it's fair to say so. 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it. She observes your eyes scanning the horizon. This is one thought you need to complete.
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations. I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine.
An ultra-liberal. It's a type of liberal. From the revolution. It's, not the moderate kind. Haven't you heard? I am a nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. One of those who pushed the... We surrendered the nation to financial colonists. No sane person identifies as an ultra anymore.
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
A devil, who being of great charm and guile...
Beneath her waterproof raincoat and silk shirt is a body imbibed in numb 12 perfume. You are suddenly and intimately aware of it.
I hope we are able to continue as friends despite my scaly bulk and the treacheries committed by my people. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker, I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition. Not here.
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched.
Then for my daughters, we had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than let them have it. Perhaps my intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
You're no dummy yourself.
A smart boy getting smarter, one basic term of reality at a time. Yes, I suppose I am.
Seditious talk, man.
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife. Now, shall we return to reality?
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you. It's about reality.
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah. This or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. Mostly the urban middle class, I believe.
Splat, splat.
Wonderful. We're in Martinez. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd.
She refers to your corresponding age.
Martinez is a district of... You would be excused for not knowing about it. I would be happy to. What is a preposterously expensive... The girl in the old lady rags? Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infra cult. Yes, You and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There are young people who dye their hair funny colors and wear old people's clothes are stupid, and their little rebellion is self-defeating. All right, what next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture. Of course, no time for silly infracultures. There are more pressing, reality-centric questions to be asked. A strange coldness comes over you as you look at the world. It's on the tip of your tongue, a doubt of sorts.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else? It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol.
Ingredients for what?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. Yes, after they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wildpine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, man. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Uncovering Union secrets could also give you an upper hand when dealing with them.
We did, on more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers. No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. This is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of...
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the...
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you. Yes? Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy. Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. Why, yes, tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, almost rust, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes. Red from the... These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say, within reason, now look at you, you misery-clad simian. You're poor, poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too... Shame? You haven't really been in the presence of gentlefolk either, have you?
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, more lessons in basic reality. My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
I am sorry. It just doesn't come out of your mouth. Surprisingly eloquent, really. The last one, not the first three. Those are ape speak.
Excuse me? I didn't hear.
What you meant to say was...
Of course, detective. Take care.
Ay, ne konuştuk ya?
Yes?
Cinayet çözecektik. Ne oldu ya? Bır bır bır, cır cır cır. Nuşka nuşka.
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance to the apartment building. The door rattles against your knuckles, but there's no response. The door rattles again, but...
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting any more strangers inside. Doesn't matter who I am. Ha! The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door? There must be another entrance to the east.
Madame, I assure you, we are real police officers.
There is no reply. Just faint...
Bu da X'e basamıyor.
Up here, Pico. The streets will flow red once more. A great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance.
The streets will not flow red with anything.
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. Ask away, pigman, but I don't promise to answer. I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a norm.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant.
The lieutenant is desperately searching for another handkerchief. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is the woman on the boat.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershore. Its moneyed residents used to posh restaurants.
On a first-name basis with her, are we? Piggy's moving up in the world. It's where they grow whores like her. Have you got a crush on her? Aching for an opportunity. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration...
She means the opposite.
Watch your back on...
Buraya gelmiş. Ne yapalım? linçe dair şeylerini öğrenmemiş. Neyse. Yeter gari. Ben olayları çözerim artık sonra. Bakalım diğer tarafa gidelim. Yine biriyle karşılaşacağız. Yarım saat konuşacağız.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the...
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup.
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. No, you got this. There's the ball. You're the game. You are immediately surprised by the ball's lack of weight. No matter, you'll make it work. God, this is right. You feel the familiar tremble of excitement and adrenaline. The cold metal ball is surprisingly smooth against your neck. Already, your muscles are adjusting to the weight. A chilly breeze ruffles your hair as you stand there, feet firmly planted. All an embodiment of pure motion. A fine-tuned locomotor.
No.
Merde! Bordel de merde!
Merde.
A whorehouse of shit? It wasn't whorehouse of shit. The shot was at least 23 meters.
What the hell is your problem? You vandalized our game, son! We can't play pétanque with 5 bull! Yes, pétanque! You ruined our pétanque game!
Take it easy, René. This is just a misunderstanding.
Of course there's harm done, you orange slug! You owe us a goddamn bull! Good. Mistakes are forgiven.
Yes. Why did you come here? It's unlikely they know anything about... You never know. He might know something.
Unfortunately, I don't. In Martinez, the union is the law. Cop is a pejorative term.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing...
I'm confident they are indispensable in regard to all the paperwork and other administrative duties. But you must agree that nature, in her infinite wisdom, has made men more fit to perform certain, more challenging tasks. Don't you, officer? No reason to even feel bad about that. It's just the way of the animal kingdom. Yes, I do. Why what? Because that's what happens when communists hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into... Commies, communists, socialists, anarchists, call them what... Sadly, no. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their sweet...
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
This place is a damn beachhead, son. Yes. The military coordinated amphibious landing. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris. This here is Blood Ground.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Don't get me wrong, officer. Damn right, son. The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez,
Well, it's your own damn fault.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players on the table.
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
I'm just so damn sorry it had to be the coalition. I would have preferred if they right instead. All that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now this is just what the commies wanted. This was the
Selam
plan
veriyoruz,
all
borçlu
along.
çıkıyoruz ya.
This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. The suzerain is the king. It's no use talking to you. Unfortunately, I don't. Cop is a...
He doesn't know about the crime.
If I knew...
It is true, sire. He knows nothing. All you observe.
This is a...
Don't you mean?
You do not speak...
There's something you missed. You will get to it.
Yeter bu kadar. Ben buna devam edeyim yayın dışında. Okuyoruz çünkü zira. Cucu. Anam istiyorsun.